Hello friends, welcome again. So this is a Dockerfile tutorial version 2. In this tutorial, we're going to see few more commands that you can use in Dockerfile, right? So there could be many more commands that you can use according to your need. But in most of the cases, you would be seeing these commands in your live production environment as well. So quickly, very first is the copy command. Copy command will do the same task. So copy and then the source and the destination path. Source path would be any local path where you have any file specific which may contain anything, any important thing that you want to pass it on to the container, right? And the second is the add command. Add command is just like to adding anything from, let's say if you have any bigger team where multiple software developers are keep on pushing the new things or new prerequisite files to any centralized repo system, and you just want to add those things into your container specific path, then you can use add command. And then the label, as name itself says, label is just labeling it. And when you have multiple people working on same project, then label generally provides a main important role, because you just want to differentiate your images from other software developers or DevOps architects. And the ARG is for passing the arguments at the runtime. When you are trying to build an image, then let's say you just want to pass on some user specific arguments, or you just want to pass on any environment specific arguments, then you can use this ARG command. So that's all I think, and this is simple structure how you can use it. So at the time of building the image, you would have to use --build -arg argument to provide runtime arguments. We will see in few minutes how we can use all of these. Right, so let's head over to the terminal and practice all of these commands over there. So I believe in the last lecture, you guys must have seen that we were using this Dockerfile, and where we were installing the fresh Ubuntu. I mean where we were just pulling the Ubuntu image, and then we were installing Nginx over it, and then we were exposing it to port 80, and then it was running into the foreground. So we're going to extend the same thing here, and we're going to use all of these commands here again. So I'm just editing everything here only. So here, let's say after installing this Nginx and exposing it, I just wanted to add it here. For first one is copy. Copy is simply when you just copy here, you need to give the source and the destination inside the container, right? So before editing it here, we would require some file here. So let's say I'm just creating any file here, and I'm just giving it to here. So here we have this file. Now we're going to use the same file in the copy command. So here you say copy, and then you give the file path, complete path. Since I already have this file in the same location where I'm running it, so I'm just giving the file. And let's say you just want to give the path inside the container where you want to copy this file to. So I'm giving file and then root. It would be copied under root directory. And second is add. So add is, as I told you, means whenever you have any kind of URL or any GitHub link that you want to paste into, then or you can add directly into your image, you can provide that link here. So let's go to Google and try to find out some sample hello world sample GitHub public repo. See what is this one. Okay, we have this hello world, and this is public. So I'm going to keep this URL and paste it here. And here again, you would have to give the path of or the destination where you want to add this particular Git repo to. So let's say I again want to give it to root, where whatever this particular repo would be added into this containers root directory. And what is the third one? Is the label. So let's say label, and I'm just giving maintainer equals to anything or my name. And what else? Argument. Okay, So argument is just ARG, and here you would have to give, let's say, anything, user equals to right now I'm giving default, but it would be overridden once the user will provide the runtime argument, right? And here this is one more command. User is for the Linux user only, and here you just have to provide this user. And what it will do is it will simply, whenever you will provide this runtime user, it would be overridden, and the argument will pick up that user, and it would be and then we are using this as a variable user. Okay, so let's now see how we can build this. Are we missing anything? I don't think so. Okay. So now we have seen all of these commands, copy, add, labeling, and ARG is for providing the argument at the runtime. So now we just want to build this image. So docker build and -- tag, we can say my ARG image, any tag you just wanted to use here, and then you would have to provide -- build - argument. So here Dockerfile would be expecting user. Let's say I'm giving user is equals to Manav, and what is the path of the Dockerfile is the current directory. So here you can see it is now pulling the Ubuntu latest, and then it is installing this Nginx and exposing it to port 80, and then it is the argument we have provided at the runtime, and it has built this Docker image. So let's verify it. Yeah, we have my argument image that we recently have built. Now let's try to run the container using this image. So same docker-d is for detach mode, and then we would also want to expose some port here. So since this is Nginx, so let's say 6062, and then I'm exposing it to port 80, and my argument -image is the name of the image. Okay, sorry, docker run it should be. Okay, now we can see the error. It says unable to find user Manav. Oh, so why it is saying unable to find user Manav is because by default we have not created any user by this name, right? So container doesn't have any entry by this user in password file. So it is expecting already existed user there. So let's try to build it again, and we're going to provide the runtime argument instead of Manav. Let me first clear this one so that you can see it, and I'm building it again, and instead of Manav user I'm just giving a root user, since this container would only have root, and it is rebuilding this image and successfully built. And now let's try to run this again. Okay, sounds good. Now it has successfully run it. So now verify the container docker ps, it is running. My ARG image, this one we recently have built 6 seconds ago, and it is exposing the localhost port 6062 to containers port 80, right? And let's verify it. We can simply go to our browser and we can see localhost and 6062. Nginx is up and running, and let's try to verify all of the files that we copied and added. So let's try to execute into this container using exec command. I'm in the container, so let's go to root. So if you will see in the root directory, what we have hello world.git and the file. So let's cat file. Here we have hello there that we created in our local system, and this is the hello world.git is the git repo. So same thing, right? So as expected, we had provided the GitHub link into the add, and the destination was root. So it has copied this hello world.git here, added the hello world.git here, this repo inside root directory, and the file was also that we have copied using the copy command, right? So this is what, right? This is what all of the commands that we have. So let's have a look again for the Dockerfile. So in the Dockerfile we can see these are the most of the commands that you would see under any Dockerfile. So first is the from, and then run, expose, copy, add, label, argument. User is just for user purpose, and cmd is for running any commands after the container is up. So these are the major or mostly used commands that you would find in any Docker file. Maybe you are running into any production environment and you could see few more commands, right? So do not worry about it. So these are the mostly used commands that in Dockerfile we can use, right? So here I just wanted to show you one more thing. Let's say if you have multiple Dockerfile here, let's say you have one more Dockerfile by the name of Dockerfile 2. So how would you differentiate and how would you pass this path of this Dockerfile? So let me try to copy this Dockerfile to Dockerfile 2. So here you have Dockerfile and Dockerfile 2, right? So if you try to build this one, as you have seen that at the time of building it, we generally provide dot. Dot is for when you have a single Docker file at that particular location. But since you have now different Docker files, so you would have to give -f, and then you can provide the Docker file whichever you want to execute. So let's say I just want to execute Dockerfile 2 this time. So you can say it is saying that okay, this Docker build, and then users cost root. Okay, so Docker build. So yeah, so if you have multiple files here, so what you need to do is you just have to specify it using -f, and then you would have to specify the Dockerfile and then 2. So let's say if this time we just want to build Dockerfile 2 this time, and then you would have to give the dot where you want to build this file to. So you, yeah, so this time it has built it, and let's verify it. Docker images, and you see this was built 7 seconds ago. So this is how you will differentiate when you would have multiple Docker files. So you just have to give -f to use the specific Docker file. Okay, so that's all guys about Dockerfile. We'll see in the next lecture. Thank you.